The fact is that that same day, in the same house where I passed away, a child appeared in a basket, newborn, no one knowing who had brought it or where it had come from. It was me, Mena Vino. It was my first Renaissance. Since no one claimed me, Francisco de los Cobos, a poor hidalgo from Úbeda, gave me the name of Fernando and took care of me, while one of her lovers, Maria Galindez, was a real mother for me in that my second life. To the surprise of everyone, I showed since childhood an incredible dexterity for handling of arms, fighting, and horsemanship, as if I were born with that knowledge and as if I had brought it in the genes. During my school teaching in Granada, I learned in a flash the Arabic and in a self-taught way, Genoese, Persian, and Turkish also astonishingly fast. As if the aforementioned wasn't enough, I marveled locals and strangers by showing them that I knew very well the geography of Turkey, Genoa, and Al-Andalus, places where I was never supposed to have been. The most surprising thing is that I did not have the same facility for learning other languages, apart from Spanish, of course, which had already become another mother tongue for me. Nor had I the faintest idea of the geography of other places. However, I showed enormous ability to navigate, something that could only be typical of someone with great experience in sea travel. The supposed first time I got on a boat, I was only 16 years old. My foster father asked me to accompany him from Malaga to Algeciras. It happened that my father, who directed the regular-size ship, unexpectedly fell seasick, so that I immediately replaced him, showing great skills in handling the boat at windward, leaving all the crew thunderstruck. How could it be that possible? The only logical explanation for the above is that actually I was not a young novice, but an experienced Genoese navigator. Sailing was that a pirate had captured me after a fierce fight on the high seas. During my early youth, this marked my destiny because, as the reader will recall, this is how I became a slave to the Ottoman Sultan. I admit that all this seemed very strange to me. Often, I felt like I was in déjà vu situations, and I used to have wonderful dreams whereby I recreated scenes from my first life, so that I got to a point where I concluded that I was living my second life, and that second life was nothing more than the continuation of the first, understanding those two lives as if it were one divided into two parts. When I commented on the above to my friends or my adopted parents, they did not believe it. Instead, they were flooded with tremendous doubts because neither they found an explanation for what was happening to me. All of this helps to understand why I decided to sail to New Spain. There were not times in when rationality prevailed. The Holy Inquisition was in vogue, and my strange squeals made me an unequivocal candidate for accusations that put me at serious risk of inquisitorial persecution. Moreover, I had already shown the qualities of a navigator, an aspect that also influenced my decision to travel to the new continent. Finally, I must say that the news of the wonders found in New Spain and the comments that the great painter Durero had made about the admirable artistic works of the Aztecs ignited my curiosity to the maximum. So that the year 1543 was passing when, being a young man of 20, I traveled to Seville. I went to the Guadalquivir River, nourished by a great variety of fish, from lampreys to perches, and together with prostitutes, adventurers of all types, including beggars, criminals escaping to the New World, and the dreamers eager for gold and fortune, I set out on my journey to New Spain. My life in those beauteous lands changed radically. I fell in love with Xochitl, a very beautiful Indian with whom I formed a large family. I settled with her in Xochimilco, and I dedicated myself fully to agriculture in Chinampas, fascinated with their intensive techniques thanks to the rich medium lacustrine with autochthonous crops such as corn, chili, amaranth, beans, the pumpkin, the tomato, and the avocado. I marveled at its multiple channels that allowed me to navigate throughout the great Mexican city to market the products. I also loved the great color of their flowers and indigenous rites. I was so deeply embedded in the culture indigenous that I learned Nahuatl with remarkable fluency. I sympathize so much with the Indians that I even participated in a tremendous battle, side by side against the repressive colonizers, in which they tried to divest the natives of their lands, which forced me to flee with my family to Oaxaca, where I died for the second time in the year 1593, at the age of 70 from a tropical illness. As had happened on the occasion of my first death, the same day of my demise appeared, in the same house where my heart ceased to beat, a basket with a baby inside. Again, it was not known who had brought the creature. The truth is that the baby was me, Menavino, or Fernando. My third life was beginning. I had been reborn. My orphanage was taken over by the Dominican monks. This time I was baptized with the name of Pedro. Since childhood, I amazed everyone by my vast culture in martial arts, navigation techniques, agriculture, and languages. That, of course, was nothing more than the result of 2 previous lives, about which obviously nobody suspected. During my monastic life, I was able to acquire great knowledge in architecture, so that I dedicated myself to the construction of temples like that of Soledad, with its beautiful Baroque doorway, and the Santo Domingo convent of highly Renaissance influence. Today, already in the year 1672, I feel old and finished in my almost 80 years. And if I'm honest, although in this, my third life, I have had many women and children, I feel quite alone. I want to die now, wrapped in an enormous curiosity. Will I continue to be reborn? What kind of life will I have? Or it will be that finally my cycle of death-rebirth has already concluded? I decided to write this brief story to record my strange case. In case perhaps God has chosen this last option, I want to finally leave Constancios, Menavino, Fernando, and Pedro as Genoves, Ottoman, Andalusian, Xochimilca, and Oaxaqueño, that I'll be forever grateful to the schools of Galata, Granada, and the Dominican monastery in Oaxaca. But above all, I want to express my eternal gratitude and pay infinite tribute to the Mediterranean seas, to the lake region from Xochimilco, to the Mexican and Oaxacan Indians, as well as the school of life, which taught me to grow as a human being. And yet now that I have accumulated wisdom, in which perhaps are the last moments of my finite life, I can say that not even wisdom is important, and that more than living, we always expect to live in ceaseless pursuit of happiness.